Welcome back to Time World History. Today's story takes us to the winter of 1776, when the American Revolution was on the brink of total collapse. The Continental Army was defeated, exhausted, and running for its life. Many soldiers were deserting. Many Americans were giving up hope. But in the middle of one freezing winter night, George Washington made one of the boldest decisions in military history, a decision that would save the American Revolution. The British invasion of New York. In August 1776, thousands of British soldiers landed on Long Island near New York. They were welcomed by loyalists who supported the British Crown. Soon their army grew to nearly 20,000 troops, led by General William Howe. It was the largest military force Britain had ever sent overseas. Their goal was simple: crush the American rebellion quickly. Facing them was General George Washington and the Continental Army. On paper, Washington also had around 20,000 men, but many were poorly trained, badly equipped, and suffering from disease. Some had never even fired a musket in battle. The Battle of Long Island. On August 27, 1776, the British attacked American defenses on Long Island. At first, American troops held their ground, but the British had a secret plan. While American soldiers fought at the front, 10,000 British troops marched through an unguarded pass and attacked the Americans from behind. The Continental Army was suddenly surrounded. Panic spread quickly. Only a few elite units held their position. One of them was the 1st Maryland Regiment, who fought desperately to protect the retreating army. Outnumbered nearly 10 to 1, many of them were killed. Watching the battle from a distance, Washington reportedly said, "Good God, what brave fellows I must this day lose." More than 2,000 American soldiers were killed, wounded, or captured. The survivors retreated to Brooklyn with the East River behind them. It looked like the war might end right there. Washington's great escape. British General Howe believed the Americans were trapped. Instead of attacking immediately, he decided to prepare a siege. That decision gave Washington one final chance. On the night of August 29th, under darkness and a thick morning fog, Washington secretly evacuated his entire army across the East River. Boat after boat carried soldiers to Manhattan in complete silence. By sunrise, the entire army had escaped. It was one of the most remarkable retreats in military history, but the war was far from over. Disaster for the Continental Army. Over the next few months, things only got worse. The British captured New York City. They defeated the Americans at White Plains. Then they captured Fort Washington, taking nearly 3,000 prisoners. Washington's army began retreating across New Jersey. Soldiers deserted daily. Civilians started supporting the British again. By December 1776, Washington had fewer than 6,000 soldiers left. Many of their enlistments would expire within weeks. The American Revolution seemed almost finished. Washington's bold plan. Washington knew he needed a victory. Without one, the army might disappear entirely. So he planned a risky attack on the Hessian soldiers stationed in the town of Trenton, New Jersey. Hessian troops were German soldiers hired by Britain, and they were known for their discipline and strength. On the night of December 25, 1776, Washington and 2,400 soldiers began crossing the icy Delaware River. Snow fell heavily. Ice filled the water. The crossing was dangerous and slow. But Washington pushed forward. The Battle of Trenton. Just after dawn on December 26, the Americans attacked. They pushed Hessian guards back into the town. Cannons were placed in the streets, firing into the enemy ranks. American soldiers charged forward with bayonets. The Hessian commander, Colonel Rahl, was mortally wounded while trying to organize a defense. Within less than an hour, the battle was over. Nearly 900 Hessian soldiers were captured. American losses were incredibly small. After months of defeat, the Continental Army had finally won a major victory. Morale across the colonies suddenly skyrocketed. But Washington had one more surprise planned: the Battle of Princeton. British General Cornwallis marched south with 8,000 soldiers to destroy Washington's army. At Trenton, the two forces faced each other across a small creek. Cornwallis planned to attack the next morning, but during the night, Washington quietly moved his army away. Instead of retreating, he marched toward Princeton, where British troops were stationed. At dawn, the two sides clashed. At first, the Americans struggled. Then Washington rode directly into the battlefield to rally his soldiers. Inspired by their commander, the Americans pushed forward. The British lines broke. Another victory for the Continental Army, turning the war around. After Princeton, Washington moved his army to Morristown for the winter. The battles of Trenton and Princeton were not large battles, but they changed everything. They gave the Americans hope again. They proved the Continental Army could defeat the British. And across Europe, powerful nations like France began paying attention. Soon, the American Revolution would become a global conflict. History is often shaped by moments when everything seems lost. And in the winter of 1776, George Washington turned near defeat into hope, with courage, strategy, and one bold gamble. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to Time World History for more incredible moments from the past. And let me know in the comments, which historical battle should we explore next? Until next time, keep exploring the past with Time World History.